Jack maneuvered his ship through the dense asteroid field, beads of sweat forming on his forehead as he adjusted the thrusters. His co-pilot, a seasoned navigator named Luca, scanned the radar with intense focus. Got something unusual on the scanner, Jack. It's not an asteroid, and it's definitely not one of ours, Luca announced, his voice steady despite the potential danger. Jack glanced at the coordinates Luca pointed out on the screen. Let's take a closer look. Could be a derelict worth salvaging. The ship glided closer, revealing the battered remains of what clearly was an alien spacecraft, its hull scorched and partially caved in. Luca whistled softly. That's a Zalari craft. What in the cosmos is it doing all the way out here? Jack's curiosity piqued. The Zalari were known, but their interactions with humans were rare and usually formal. Could be in trouble. Let's suit up and check for survivors. Might need our help. The two men suited up in their space gear, sealing their helmets before disembarking into the void. They tethered themselves with lines to the ship and approached the wreckage cautiously. The cold silence of space enveloped them as they used their jets to maneuver through the twisted metal. Inside the craft, they found chaos, panels ripped off, wires dangling. And then Jack saw her, a figure slumped against the far wall. He rushed over, Luca close behind. Hey, can you hear me? Jack gently turned the alien, a Zalari girl with shimmering blue skin and delicate features. Her eyes fluttered open, revealing irises that glowed faintly. Luca checked her vitals through his suit's scanner. She's alive, but needs medical attention fast. Jack nodded, lifting her carefully. We'll take her back to our ship. Luca prepped the med bay. As they transported the alien girl to their ship, her eyes met Jack's. Thank you, she whispered in surprisingly clear galactic standard, her voice weak but filled with gratitude. Back aboard their ship, Luca got to work in the med bay, administering aid with practiced ease while Jack stayed by the girl's side, trying to make her feel safe. What's your name? Jack asked, as Luca applied a healing agent to her wounds. Serena, she replied, her voice steadier now. I'm Jack, and that's Luca. Jack pointed towards Luca, who gave a brief nod and smile from across the room. Why were you out here in this sector? Luca chimed in, curiosity lining his voice. Serena hesitated, her eyes darting between the two men. I was running from something. We won't press if you're not ready to talk about it, Jack assured her, his tone gentle. You're safe here with us. Serena managed a weak smile. I appreciate your kindness. Jack and Luca exchanged a look, a silent agreement passing between them. They were in this rescue together, and now they'd navigate whatever came next as a united team. Rest now, Serena. We'll figure everything out together, Jack said, his voice resolute yet calming. As Serena closed her eyes, trusting her fate to these human strangers, Jack felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He didn't know what had chased her across the stars, but he was determined to protect her, no matter what threats might come their way. As their ship cut through the vast emptiness of space, Jack and Luca convened in the cockpit, discussing their next move. Serena, now resting in the med bay, was still a mystery, and her presence on board posed questions they weren't sure how to answer. We need to figure out what she's running from, Jack said, adjusting the ship's course slightly. Any chance you can get more out of her? Maybe find a common ground or something. Luca nodded thoughtfully. I'll try. She seems to trust us a bit. Maybe she'll open up more if she feels safe. Jack glanced at the radar, ensuring they weren't heading into any more unexpected trouble. Meanwhile, I'll reach out to my contact at the space station. See if they've heard anything about Zalari movements in this sector. As Luca headed back to the med bay, Jack sent a secure message to his contact, a communications officer named Eli, who had access to interstellar traffic reports and gossip alike. Eli responded quickly, promising to dig around and get back to him with any useful information. In the med bay, Lucas sat down beside Serena, who appeared more alert now. Feeling better, he asked gently. Serena nodded, her gaze fixed on the view of space from the small window. Yes, thank you. I didn't expect to find kindness so far from home. Jack and I believe in helping where we can, Luca explained, his voice warm. Can you tell me what happened? Why were you alone on that ship? Serena sighed, a sound mixed with relief and residual fear. I was escaping from a forced betrothal. In my culture, refusing such an arrangement is perilous. I took a ship, hoping to find refuge on a neutral planet, but I was pursued. That's a tough spot to be in, Lucas said sympathetically. We can help you get somewhere safe if you want. You're not alone in this anymore. Back in the cockpit, Jack received an encrypted message from Eli. Hey, got something. There's been unusual Zalari activity reported not far from where you found the girl. Seems like a high-ranking official's daughter went missing recently. That might be her. Jack frowned, piecing together the implications. He thanked Eli and signed off, pondering their next steps. The information made him even more protective of Serena. He knew, too, the dangers of being caught in the crosshairs of powerful entities. When Luca returned to the cockpit, Jack relayed the news. Seems like she's important, potentially a high-ranking official's daughter. We should be extra cautious. Explains why she was so scared. Luca mused. What's our play? We keep moving towards the station, but stay off the main routes. Keep a low profile, Jack decided, adjusting their course to avoid popular hyperspace lanes. And Serena? Luca asked, concern etched in his features. We tell her what we know, see how she wants to handle it. It's her life after all, Jack said, believing in giving Serena the agency she had been denied. They approached Serena together this time, presenting a united front. Jack started, Serena, we know a bit about why you might have been running. It involves some powerful people looking for you. Serena met their eyes, fear mingling with resolve. I thought as much. I don't want to bring trouble upon you. Maybe I should leave. No, Jack interrupted gently. We're in this together now. We want to help you. Just let us know how. Serena looked between the two men, her expression softening. Thank you, both of you. I would like to seek asylum, if possible. Away from the reach of my family. We can arrange that, Luca assured her, a plan forming in his mind. Together, they began to outline a strategy to navigate the political and spatial minefields ahead. As they plotted their course, the seeds of a strong alliance were sown, forged in the vacuum of space but rooted in mutual respect and shared goals. As their ships sailed through the silent stretches of space, Jack, Luca, and Serena settled into a comfortable routine. The atmosphere on board was a blend of anticipation and camaraderie as they shared meals and stories. One evening, as they gathered in the small dining area, Luca sparked a conversation that would lead to deeper understanding. Serena, you mentioned your culture is quite advanced. What's something unique about it that you think we'd find interesting? Serena thought for a moment, then smiled. We have a practice called mind harmony. It's a way to synchronize thoughts and emotions with another to promote understanding and peace. It's quite beautiful. Jack, intrigued, leaned in. How does that work exactly? Sounds like something that could have helped in a few negotiations I've been in. It requires physical touch and a lot of mental focus, Serena explained. Participants share their inner thoughts openly, bridging communication gaps. Sounds intense, Luca remarked, a look of fascination crossing his face. Ever tried anything like that, Jack? Jack chuckled. Can't say that I have. My negotiations are usually more about stubbornness and stamina. Their conversation drifted to human practices, and Jack shared details about Earth's diverse cultures, sparking Serena's curiosity. It's fascinating how diverse yet divided your world can be, she noted. Yeah, it's a mixed bag, Jack agreed. But it's what makes us human. We're constantly learning, evolving. Sometimes it's messy, but there's beauty in the chaos. As days turn into weeks, Jack decided to take them through a lesser-known trading route lined with spectacular cosmic phenomena. You'll love this, Serena. It's not something many get to see. As they approached a nebula, the ship's viewing deck offered them a breathtaking vista. Colors swirled in celestial dance, illuminating Serena's face with awe. It's incredible, she whispered. Human explorers used to be poets when they named these, Lucas said, joining her at the window. That one's called the Rose Nebula, for obvious reasons. Jack watched them from a distance, feeling a profound sense of responsibility and kinship. He joined the two, pointing out various features of the nebula and sharing tales of other explorers and the legends they left behind. Inspired by the beauty around her and the stories shared, Serena offered, Would you like to try the Mind Harmony? It might not be as spectacular as this nebula, but I think it could be an enlightening experience for us. Jack and Luca exchanged a look, mutual curiosity in their eyes. Why not? Jack said. Lead the way, Serena. They sat in a circle, knees touching, as Serena instructed them to close their eyes and breathe deeply. Focus on the sensations around you, the touch points, the sound of our ship, the feeling of being here together. As they synchronized their breathing, Jack and Luca felt an unusual calm. Serena guided them deeper into the exercise, encouraging them to share a significant memory. Luca spoke of his first solo flight, the fear and exhilaration mingling in his heart. Jack shared the pride he felt when he bought his ship, a dream turned reality. Serena shared her vision of her planet, a place of vast oceans and floating gardens. It's peaceful, yet so isolated. I've always wondered what lies beyond. The session ended with a shared silence, each reflecting on the vulnerabilities and dreams laid bare. They opened their eyes, feeling a newfound understanding and respect for each other. That was more intense than I expected, Luca admitted, a thoughtful frown on his face. It's a gift, what you shared with us, Jack added sincerely. Makes me think we could use a bit of your culture back home. As they resumed their journey, the bond between them strengthened, not just as crewmates but as friends exploring the vast unknown together. Their dialogue about each other's worlds not only enriched their voyage, but also prepared them for the challenges that lay ahead. The ship approached a small, relatively unknown planet that Luca had found in an old star map. It's said to have gardens that light up at night with natural luminescence. Should be right up our alley for a little shore leave, he suggested as they orbited the planet. Serena looked intrigued. A glowing garden sounds magical. Is it safe for us to visit? Jack nodded. Sensor scans show no advanced technology or life forms that would pose a threat. Just a lot of plant life and some small creatures. It'll be a good break for us. With the ship securely landed, the trio donned their exploratory gear. The planet's surface was breathtaking, covered in lush greenery that shimmered with a subtle iridescence even under the fading light of its sun. As they walked through the thick foliage, the atmosphere around them began to change. The plants started glowing brighter, illuminating their path in a spectrum of colors. It's like walking through a living rainbow, Serena exclaimed, her eyes wide with wonder. Jack couldn't help but smile at her excitement. Wait until you see the heart of the garden. It's supposed to be the highlight. They continued deeper into the garden until they reached a clearing where the light from the plants converged into a dazzling display. The air was filled with sweet, fragrant scents, and the ground beneath them was soft and springy. This is incredible, Lucas said, looking around in awe. Never seen anything like it. They settled down in the clearing, the gentle light from the plants casting a serene glow over them. As they sat, Jack noticed Serena looking at him differently, her gaze lingering a little longer than usual. Jack, can I ask you something? Serena's voice was soft, tentative. Sure, anything, Jack replied, turning to face her fully. What's it like being a captain? Making decisions that affect everyone on board? Her curiosity was genuine, seeking to understand more about the man who had saved her. Jack thought for a moment. It's not always easy. You've got to think on your feet, be ready for anything. But it's also rewarding, especially when it means I can help people, like I did with you. Serena smiled, a hint of color rising in her cheeks. I'm glad it was you who found me. The conversation drifted to lighter topics, and soon, Serena proposed an idea. I read about an Earth custom, making wishes on shooting stars. Maybe we could try it. Luca chuckled. No shooting stars scheduled for tonight, but we could definitely make wishes here. Seems like a place where they'd come true. Each took a moment to think, then share their wishes in turn. Luca wished for more adventures like this one, while Jack, looking at Serena, wished for the courage to face whatever came their way together. Serena's turn came, and she hesitated, her expression thoughtful. Finally, she looked up at them both. I wish that no matter where we go from here, we always remember this night, this peace. The mood settled into a comfortable silence, each of them lost in their thoughts under the luminescent glow. As the night deepened, Jack and Serena found themselves talking quietly away from Luca, who had wandered off to take some photos. Serena's hand brushed against Jack's, a tentative but intentional touch. Jack, she paused, looking nervous. It's okay, Jack encouraged gently, sensing her hesitation. I'm really grateful for all of this. For you. Her voice was barely above a whisper. Jack reached out, taking her hand in his. So am I, Serena. So am I. Their conversation slowly turned into a deeper exchange of looks and soft laughs. Jack was moved by the openness and trust Serena showed him. They talked about dreams and fears until the early hours, when the first hints of dawn began to steal the magic of the night. As they walked back to the ship with Luca, the bond between them had clearly deepened, marked by shared experiences and quiet confessions in the glow of an otherworldly garden. The tranquility of their last visit was soon eclipsed by the rigors of space travel. As the ship navigated through a dense asteroid field, Jack's skills as a pilot were put to the test. Luca, monitoring the radar, called out directions. Sharp left up ahead, then straight for about 500 meters. Luca instructed, his eyes not leaving the screen. Jack maneuvered the ship with practiced ease, though the proximity alarms blared a stressful symphony. Keep the updates coming, Luca. These rocks aren't giving us a break. Just then, an alarm sounded, a new warning. We've got engine fluctuations. Looks like we took a minor hit, Luca reported, his voice calm despite the urgency. Jack's jaw tightened. Can you handle it? On it, Luca replied, already moving towards the engine bay. Serena appeared at the cockpit doorway, worry etched on her face. Is there anything I can do to help? Stay put, Serena. Luca's on it. Just a minor hiccup, Jack reassured her, though he kept his focus forward, navigating through the asteroids. In the engine bay, Luca assessed the damage. A small asteroid had punctured the hull near the engine, causing a disruption in the fuel flow. He quickly sealed the breach and rerouted the fuel lines. Jack, you should have full power now, he called over the comms. Good work, Luca. Looks like we're clear of the field, too, Jack responded, a note of relief in his voice as the space around them opened up. Back in the cockpit, Serena breathed a sigh of relief. That was intense. You both handled it so well. Jack smiled at her. Comes with the territory. But it's always good to have a calm crew. Helps keep the nerves in check. As they continued their journey, a new challenge presented itself. This time it was not physical, but social. Jack received a transmission from a nearby space station, where they planned to resupply. The station master, a stern human named Commander Voss, had reservations about allowing the Zalari aboard his station. Jack opened the channel, and the commander's gruff voice filled the cockpit. Captain, I must insist on speaking about the nature of your crew before we permit docking. Jack exchanged a glance with Serena, who nodded slightly, giving him the go-ahead to explain their situation. Commander, we're transporting a diplomat from the Zalari sectors. She's here on a peaceful mission. Voss was skeptical. A Zalari, you say? Diplomatic credentials? Absolutely, Jack lied smoothly, knowing the importance of keeping Serena's real situation discreet. Voss grunted. Very well. We'll allow docking. But I'll be keeping an eye on your diplomat. After the call, Serena looked at Jack, a mix of gratitude and concern in her eyes. Thank you for that. But are we safe there? We will be, Jack assured her. We'll stay close, and Luca and I won't let anyone give you trouble. The trio prepared to dock at the station, their nerves somewhat frayed but their resolve firm. They were a team now, each relying on the other's strengths to navigate these challenges. Once docked, Jack, Luca, and Serena disembarked together. Commander Voss met them at the airlock, his gaze lingering suspiciously on Serena. Jack introduced her formally, and Luca stayed by her side, a silent sentinel. The visit went smoothly, thanks largely to the united front presented by Jack and Luca. They resupplied and managed a few repairs without incident, but the experience left them all more aware of the precariousness of their situation. Back aboard their ship, as they left the station behind, Serena turned to her companions. I realize today just how much I rely on both of you. This journey, it's more than I ever expected. Jack smiled, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. We are in this together, Serena. No matter what comes our way. Luca nodded in agreement. Couldn't have said it better myself. It's us against the universe. As they set their course for the next destination, the challenges they faced had indeed brought them closer, solidifying their bond and their commitment to each other's safety and well-being. As the ship entered the calm of open space, away from crowded stations and asteroid fields, Jack decided it was time for a much-needed break. He plotted a course to a nearby uninhabited planet known for its stunning night skies. Thought we could use a little downtime, Jack explained to Luca and Serena as they gathered in the cockpit. Sounds perfect, Luca responded, eager for a chance to relax. What's special about this place? It's got one of the best views in the galaxy. The night sky lights up with more stars than you can imagine. Good place for some R&R and maybe a bit of soul-searching, Jack added with a wink. Serena smiled, clearly appreciative of the thought. I could use a peaceful night under the stars. As they landed on the planet, the sun was just setting, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink. They set up a small camp near the ship, complete with a portable fire pit that Luca had been itching to try out. As darkness enveloped the planet, the sky transformed into a canvas of countless stars, each one shimmering like a diamond. They sat around the fire, the warmth and light a stark contrast to the cool, dark expanse around them. "It's beautiful," Serena murmured, her eyes wide with wonder. "It never gets old," Jack agreed, staring up at the sky. "Makes you feel small, doesn't it?" "Yeah, but in a good way. Makes my problems seem less overwhelming," Luca added, throwing a stick into the fire. The conversation drifted from casual chatter to deeper, more personal disclosures. Jack, feeling the serenity of the starlit sky, decided to share something he rarely discussed. "You know, before I got this ship, I was sort of lost. Didn't know what I wanted to do or where I wanted to go. Buying this ship, it was more than just a purchase. It was a promise to myself to seek out something better." Luca nodded, understandingly. "We've all been there. I joined the fleet because I didn't know what else to do with myself. Turned out to be the best decision of my life." They looked at Serena, who had been quietly listening. "What about you, Serena? Ever felt lost?" Jack asked gently. Serena took a deep breath before speaking. "Always. Being who I am, where I come from, it's like living someone else's life. Running away was terrifying, but it was the first decision that felt like mine." Jack reached out, placing a supportive hand on her shoulder. "You're not alone anymore. We're with you, no matter what. Thank you, both of you. You've shown me a kindness that I never knew existed," Serena said, her voice thick with emotion. As the night deepened, they shared more stories, each tale weaving them closer together. Luca, ever the peacemaker, suggested they make a pact. "Why don't we make it official? Whatever happens, we stick together. Like a crew, but more like a family." "I like that," Jack said, nodding solemnly. "All for one, and one for all," Luca finished with a grin. Serena laughed, the sound mingling with the crackling of the fire. All for one and one for all. Their pact sealed under the starry sky, they felt a renewed sense of camaraderie and purpose. The challenges they faced seemed less daunting with the knowledge that they wouldn't face them alone. Later, as they prepared to return to the ship, Jack paused, looking back at the fire and the stars above. "This night, this conversation, it changes things." "It does," Luca agreed. "For the better." They extinguished the fire and walked back to the ship, their path illuminated by the starlight. Inside, as they settled down for the night, each felt the comfort of belonging and the quiet confidence of shared futures. The stars had witnessed their confessions and their pact, a silent testament to their unity and shared destiny. After their heartfelt night under the stars, the dynamics aboard the ship shifted subtly but significantly. The closeness between Jack, Luca, and Serena deepened as they shared daily routines and responsibilities with a newfound ease and affection. One evening, as the ship hummed quietly through the cosmos, Serena approached Jack in the cockpit, where he was reviewing navigation charts. "Jack, could we talk?" "In private?" she asked, her voice a mixture of hesitancy and determination. "Of course, Serena. What's on your mind?" Jack replied, turning off the console and giving her his full attention. "I've been thinking about everything that's happened since you rescued me," Serena began, her eyes searching Jack's, "and about how much I've come to care for you and Luca." Jack smiled gently, encouraging her to continue. "We care about you too, Serena. You're a part of this crew. No, more than that. You're a part of our family now." Serena nodded, her lips curving into a soft smile. "I feel that. But it's more, Jack. With you, it's different. I feel something stronger. I didn't know how to say it at first, but the night under the stars made it clear. I think I'm falling in love with you." Jack's heart skipped a beat. He had felt a growing affection for Serena, a connection that went beyond friendship, but hearing her confess her feelings so openly ignited something within him. "Serena, he paused, searching for the right words. "I feel the same. I wasn't sure if it was right to say it, not when you've had so much to deal with." Serena reached out, taking his hand. "It feels right to me, Jack. It feels like the one thing in my universe that isn't complicated." Moved by her words, Jack stood and pulled her gently into his arms. They stood there for a moment, simply holding each other, the silence around them a comforting blanket. Luca, who had been about to enter the cockpit, paused at the doorway, sensing the intimate moment. He smiled to himself and quietly retreated, giving them privacy. Jack pulled back slightly, looking into Serena's eyes. "This is new for me, Serena. I haven't felt this way about someone in a long time. But I want to explore this with you, if you're willing. I am, Serena whispered, her face lighting up with a radiant smile. Jack leaned down, his lips meeting hers in a gentle, exploratory kiss. The kiss deepened, fueled by the emotions they had held back. Serena responded with equal passion, her hands reaching up to caress his face. They eventually broke apart, breathless. Wow, Jack murmured, resting his forehead against hers. Wow indeed, Serena giggled softly, her eyes sparkling. Deciding to retreat to a more private setting, they walked hand in hand to Jack's quarters. The door slid shut behind them, sealing them away from the world. Inside, they kissed again, more confidently this time. Jack's hands traced the lines of Serena's back, pulling her closer. Serena's touch was tentative but grew bolder with each passing moment, exploring the contours of his shoulders and chest. As they moved together towards the bed, their movements were fluid, a dance driven by mutual desire and deep affection. They took their time, each kiss and touch a discovery. Later, as they lay together, wrapped in each other's arms, the ship soft hummed the only sound. Jack whispered, "I never expected to find this, not out here." Serena nestled closer, her voice a contented murmur. "Neither did I, but I'm so grateful we did." The night deepened around them as they drifted off to sleep, the stars outside their silent companions. Their bond, forged through shared experiences and now sealed with their affection, promised a future filled with possibilities, both known and yet to be discovered. The soft hum of the ship's engines filled the air as it cruised through the vast expanse of space. Inside, the atmosphere was one of quiet contentment, a stark contrast to the uncertainty that had characterized their journey so far. Jack, Luca, and Serena sat in the common area, maps and charts spread out before them, planning their next steps. "So, where to now?" Luca asked, his tone light but curious. He looked between Jack and Serena, noting the subtle changes in their interactions, the easy smiles, and the occasional lingering touches. Jack glanced at Serena, seeking her input. "We got a couple of options. We could continue exploring, maybe chart some unexplored territories. Or we could find a place to settle down for a bit, figure things out." Serena's eyes shone with a mix of excitement and nerves. "I'd like to keep exploring," she said. "I feel like there's so much more out there for us to discover together. And perhaps we could advocate for peace and understanding between our species along the way." "That's a solid plan," Luca agreed, nodding approvingly. "There's a lot of misinformation and fear about each other's races. We could really make a difference." Jack smiled, pleased with their decision. "Exploration it is, then. And while we're at it, we'll spread the word. Show the galaxy that humans and Zalari can work together, can care for each other." The conversation shifted towards logistics, supply routes, potential allies, and interesting stellar phenomena to investigate. Luca, ever the practical one, took notes, organizing their ideas into a coherent plan. As they talked, Jack felt a profound sense of purpose. He had started this journey as a simple salvage operation, never expecting it would transform his life so completely. Looking at Serena, who was animatedly discussing a nebula she wanted to visit, he felt a surge of affection and gratitude. "Hey, what about the Cygnus Rift?" Lucas suggested, pointing to a vibrant area on the star map. "It's supposed to be beautiful this time of year, and it's peaceful, mostly unclaimed by any major powers." "That sounds perfect," Serena agreed, her enthusiasm infectious. "It could be a great first destination for our new mission." As they finalized their plans, the conversation turned more personal. "I never thought I'd find something like this," Jack confessed, his voice low. "A mission that feels right, and people I care about to share it with." Luca clapped him on the back, a broad grin on his face. "Feels like we're a part of something bigger than ourselves, doesn't it?" "It does," Jack agreed, returning the smile. As the meeting wrapped up, they stood, stretching and preparing to set their plans into motion. Serena looked between Jack and Luca, her expression thoughtful. "You know, I used to dream about the stars as a place to escape to. Now they feel like a place to belong." Jack reached for her hand, squeezing it gently. "We do belong, all of us. Together." With their course set for the Cygnus Rift, they moved to the cockpit to input the new coordinates. Luca manned the navigation console, his fingers flying over the controls with practiced ease. As the ship began its jump to hyperspace, the stars outside stretching into lines of light, Jack, Luca, and Serena watched from the front viewport. A sense of anticipation filled the air, a shared excitement for the adventures that lay ahead. "We're on to something good here," Jack said, his voice full of hope and determination. Here's to new beginnings, Luca added, raising an imaginary glass. Serena smiled, looking out at the streaking stars. And to finding where we truly belong. Together, they watched as the ship sped onward, their journey forward not just about exploring new places, but about building new understandings and forging a future that once seemed impossible. Their story was one of discovery, not just of the universe but of themselves and each other, a journey that was only just beginning.